not much more. We've a lot to do. But it's all part of our plan. It's all part of Rotary's plan, our 4 strands of our plan, increasing our impact, getting more members, expanding our reach. With more members, we can do so much more. And enhancing the participant engagement. And, just listening to Andrea there just now really shares what all that's about. But also increasing our ability to adapt. So this is Rotary's plan. It's international plan. It's part of GB&I's plan. And I'm sure it's part of your plan as part of the district. But the problem, what are we trying to solve? Well, we've been around playing with clubs and frankly, we're not growing. We're losing members. And I'll come back to some of the numbers. And we've got that age demographic. I was doing a little piece of work last night. I'm at the Leadership Forum in Warwick in a week's time. And something like in 10 years' time, we'll have less than 2,500 Rotarians under 70. In 10 years, less than 2,500 under 70, over 35,000. It's too big. The gap in the age is too big to attract working professionals. I hate the word professionals. It's working Rotarians, isn't it? Because Rotarians need not be professional. They need to have a passion to help us do what we do. When I was district governor last year, and going around the clubs, I was astonished to find very few Rotarians knew much beyond the club, what Rotary was really about. And less than half are on My Rotary, not adopting the technology that allows them to see beyond the boundaries. And the lack of collaboration between clubs and district. If you asked your community, what do they know about Rotary? Would they tell you you were relevant? And we focused on traditional clubs, very territorial. I remember starting a new club in our district, close to one of the other clubs, and the other club said, Ken, you can't sign that, paper's off. Well, you're kind of too late because I signed them this morning and we've actually got 20 new Rotarians. And do we focus on fundraising or do we focus on what we do? And do we always remember our own charity? There is only one charity in Rotary, and that's our foundation. So the future is now, we recognise there is an issue. What are we going to do about it? So North Star, very simple. We'll have 60,000 members by 2028. Now, when I first heard that, I said, you must be kidding. But I sat down and worked the numbers on what you will see the different strands. And it became possible once you understand what's possible. If we got 58,000 by 2028, is that failure? Don't think so. So if we go for the moon or we go for the North Star and we miss it a little bit, we'll still land amongst the stars. We've been on a journey over the last few years. One region, one Rotary. We've looked at our governance structure and planning for change. We've moved into clusters. And recently, over the last couple of years, we've now got a GB&I board elected by the people and not just like I was last year, run by the governors who were there for 1 year. But we're there now for the long term and we actually get some continuity in what we do. That's phase 3. What about phase 4, North Star? So if we look at the red dotted line, that's where we're going if we don't do anything. The black line up to where it separates to the red line is what we've been doing over the last 5-6 years. Our plan, and it will be a slow start, as you can see, it'll climb up above to the high 30s and then take off going forward. Is that sensible? Well, we believe so. So our projections are current clubs are the backbone. but we need to halt the decline. We need to stop the historical flatlining where members don't change, our total numbers don't change. And we need to start new clubs. In my own district, we lost 100 people last year, and we have around 2,200 people in the district. And that sounded, well, that's not as bad as the year before, but we actually had started 2 new clubs. It was actually worse than we thought on the current members. So we need to continue growing clubs. We need to keep the existing clubs, do things like Andrea's been doing, making our clubs relevant, but also looking at new innovative Rotary direct member. And you have a direct membership hub in your district. Well done. And that will grow. So that's that grey line growing up. The blue line and the orange line is all about existing clubs, and that's not going to change. And the yellow line is all about enterprise membership, and we'll just talk about that for a second. Our plan has persuaded RI to invest $800,000 over the next 3 years to help us on various activities. I'm not going to go into these. You can see the detail there, and we've actually got the first tranche of money agreed over the next 3 years. So there's a recognition within Britain and Ireland, and there's a recognition within Rotary International that we need to do something, and there's an investment there to do it. We need to invest for the future. Socrates, secret of change is to focus all your energy, not on fighting the old, but building the new, changing what we've got, recognizing that if we continue doing what we always did, you know the story, you'll always get what you always got. So our strategy, we saw the problem when we did the analysis. So we're looking at the perceived relevance, high impact projects, new membership offerings, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail, a bit of a culture shift as we welcome new people coming into Rotary and creating that drive for change. And people are not comfortable with change. We've got to share what's the compelling reason for change. Well, we've been through that. We know the compelling reason for change. But just like Andrea said, we need to look at the member experience. So are we looking after our members, or are we looking after our clubs? Let's look after our members. And all the new channels are looking at onboarding new members differently. Let's make sure they're mentored. Let's make sure that we do what they want to do with their personal skills. What are their passions? And I use the word passions there. My own club, we've got 5 teachers. One of the most recent teachers that joined us, we asked, what do you want to do? The last thing on this planet I want to do is be beside kids. I've been with them all my working life, and I don't want them anymore. I'll do something else. So we've got to understand that. So our 4 channels for growth are direct membership, enterprise membership, corporate membership, and of course, clubs, business as usual, a significant portion. And I hope, like this sign, we can spell business properly. So 4 strands, let's take a quick look. So enterprise membership, it's not the same as corporate membership. We're bringing on an entity at a time, a complete entity. And they can be profit organizations or non-profit organizations. But they're companies or enterprises that are interested in their corporate social responsibility and want to coordinate that. And they see a huge advantage in doing that through Rotary. And they can help us grow not only our membership, but also foundation, and grow what we're passionate about for Rotary. We already have our first company, Trust Payments, on board. They said they wanted to put 500 of their people as members. And we've said, can we walk before we can run? So they've agreed there's 125 new Rotarians in there. And we're already in early stage discussion with more organisations, but it takes time. This is not an immediate thing to achieve. We're not asking the district to deal with this. This is being dealt with by the centre in Ulster. It does take time. It takes 6 months or so to bring a company on board. And with dedicated sales expertise who can persuade enterprises to do this. But that's all very well if it's good for us, but it's also good for them. I'm not going to read through this. You can read this as well. And the slides are available after. But it's also developing their people. How many of you have been on the Learning Centre and actually found out more about even simple things like what is Rotary? Perhaps managing change. There's an excellent piece on there in managing change. So it's their personal and their professional development that their organisations are really interested about. And of course, at the end of the day, they're all Rotarians. And if we bring on enterprises globally, there's going to be a local community for them. Look at direct membership. And this is for growth and retention. Some people nowadays, I don't want to join a club, but I'm really interested in what you do in Rotary. So they can join directly for a tenner a month. Tenner a month is not the price of a cup of coffee a week in Starbucks or wherever. But they get the full orientation and they follow our join leaders, exchange ideas and take action drivers. And they do it all in Teams, but that's changing. Teams has not been working for us. And it's all linked to the district hubs. So the people that live local to you are in your district hub, if they want. If people said, I'm not interested in working locally, that's fine for them, because there is still a direct member hub that's not aligned to the district. But every district, bar one, does have a district hub. So that's direct membership for growth. But what about the retention part of it? If what Andrea had said, the club had folded, why lose Rotarians? If people are passionate about Rotary, like you and me, here's another option. If we have to lose clubs, let's not lose Rotarians. And here's a way of dealing with that if they don't want to join another club. It's open to anyone, but a fantastic way of retaining members. On July the 1st last year, we had 306 direct, and 54 have graduated onto other clubs or e-clubs or wherever. But there's an interesting thing on the average age. It's 10 to 15 years younger than GB&I in general. And it sorts the gender balance in lots of ways. The amazing thing is when we talk of new clubs, the 5 newest clubs in my district, male Rotarians are in the minority. And I hate using the word male and female. It's Rotarian. Everybody's a Rotarian, aren't they? So that's direct. Corporate, I'm not talking about corporate because Joy Palmer-Cooper, who's coming on just in a second, will talk much more eloquently about it than I can. And club membership. So what are you doing about making your club more flexible? And what about new clubs? How many new clubs have you got in your district? How many potential new clubs? 1150 is not an area I've looked at, but I've done demographic analysis for, I think, over half the districts. I've never done one yet that's had less than 15 opportunities for new clubs and probably 2,000 members. People out there want to join Rotary, but we have to have our new clubs focused on what people want and where they are. The needs in urban and rural areas are different. As you can guess, I really know when I'm looking after the north of Scotland. One of our clubs in the north of Inverness We've got 2 people drive over 40 miles each way to go to Rotary. That's the dedication. So is your club what I call I-cubed? Is it inviting? Is it inspirational? Is it irresistible? When I say inviting, I've seen some clubs' website pages said, we'll invite you. What if somebody wants to join Rotary? Do they have to wait? So what about your club's culture? Do you know, does it need to be changed? And if it does, why? And if it needs to be changed, how are you going to do it? There's an excellent, well, I think it was excellent. There's a webinar last week on club culture where we persuaded Stephanie Urchik, our incoming world president. And the link for that will be available shortly. That's being shared out at the moment. So what do you know, and do you assess what your club does? Do you have annual member surveys? There's various types of assessments and survey access on My Rotary. Do you do a club health check? And I was speaking with Ian and with Peter just recently on a health check and working with it and making it relevant for your district, for clubs in your district. I believe you'll hear a lot more of that in a second. But involve everyone. Involve everyone in whatever assessment. Machiavelli, I like Machiavelli. Some people hate Machiavelli. Nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain for its success than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. We don't like change, and the innovator has enemies and those who have done well under the old conditions, and lukewarm defenders and those who may do well under the new. Let's all be at least a lukewarm defender on making sure Rotary grows in these islands. And what will success look like? You can read this. I'm not going to go through the various points on here. But great service project engagement opportunities, the one in the third one down, is important. Direct members in the Direct Hub, they're going to want to get help and work with you and your clubs. Let's engage them. That's why they joined Rotary. Let's work together. Let's collaborate and make Rotary so much better. And whether it's a district or the cluster, make sure you've got that clear vision. Make sure you plan for more members. If we have 24 districts and we're planning to grow by 25,000, you can work the potential numbers that are in your district. You need to plan for it and start your journey today. And I'm going to stop sharing there. That is a very, very quick summary of what North Star is, 60,000 by 2028. I asked the question, what happens if we exceed 60,000? Fantastic. Mary, back to you.